Hey, everybody. Please, let's gather around one more time. You know, when these issues happen, it's important to sort of tackle them almost in real time because travel of information on the internet is lightning fast. It's so fast, it's very difficult to keep up with it, you know. So there are a couple of things I'd like to share with you against the backdrop of the live broadcast I did not too long ago. And Oprah Winfrey once said that when you know better, you do better. So let's take it from there. Also, as we begin this broadcast, and I will not keep you long, I would ask please to have you share this broadcast with as many people as possible, with people that you think would be interested in this conversation. The very first thing I'd love for you to do is to tell me in the comments below, please, if this broadcast is clear. If you tell me it's clear, we can go ahead and start the broadcast. A few shout outs to you guys. Who is that? Kamanga. Is it Kamanga? Thank you, Kamanga, for being with us. And I'd be grateful if you could do that. Many of you know, in the last couple of hours, something has happened that has piqued the interest of the internet world here in Zambia, and it is worthy of note. It really is. It's worthy of note because it is a microcosm of things to come, and we have to do everything within our power to nip this in the bud. Our opportunity as Zambian citizens, our opportunity as the electorate, our opportunity as law enforcement is to circle the wagons on this issue and make things right. Let me go back a bit. Let me digress and make reference to my earlier broadcast. As for those of you that watched my earlier broadcast, many of you know that a few hours ago, Honorable Given Lubinda was abducted, and that is the perfect word to describe what happened to Given Lubinda. Given Lubinda was holding a meeting in Kabwe earlier today, and from nowhere, a group of vagabonds that were led by a UPND acting youth chairman by the name of Kelvin Mwangala burst into a lodge, and they forcibly they grabbed Given Lubinda and they removed him from the lodge. Now, let me go back to what I earlier said. I was of the view that this was something that was perpetrated by factions of the PF, namely Robert Chavinga and supporters of Robert Chavinga and supporters of Makebi Zulu. My summation was that these factions that were loyal to these PF faction leaders, it was in their interest to eliminate Given Lubinda from the electoral process or from the path that leads to the PF presidency. My view was that their motive was to eliminate him from the race. Therefore, attacking him and abducting him in the way that he was would serve their interest. Now, new information has come to light, and my position was their motive to me was clear. It was to eliminate Given Lubinda. It didn't make apparent sense to me that UPND surrogates would go into a lodge and eject and forcibly remove Given Lubinda. It didn't make sense to me. What would the motive be? But new information has come to light that we have to take a look at. And it would be wrong, it would be folly for us to sort of pretend that this is not a big deal. This is a big deal. The thing that this UPND youth chairman has done is the same as Charles Kakula did in 2021 when Charles Kakula burst into a civil servant's office, namely the Ministry of Works and Supply, And he forcibly removed a woman by the name of Cherie because, according to him, she was a supporter of the Upnd. Now, you have to remember, this was in 2021, before the elections of 2021. Charles Kakula, in Charles Kakula's mind, he was fully convinced that what he was doing was not only had the stamp of approval from the party, but in his mind, what he was doing was an indication. It was a showing of loyalty to the PF. You see, this is the problem with cadres. A cadre has no ability to decipher. A cadre cannot read the room. A cadre has tunnel vision. A cadre has a one-track mind. In Kelvin Mwangala's case, this UPND acting youth chairman, and I'm going to highlight why the word acting is very, very important in this context. This UPND acting youth chairman did what he did because in his mind he thinks he'll be promoted. He thinks that the higher echelons of the UPND are going to congratulate him for his thuggery. That's how he thinks. And this is how cadres, whether they are UPND, whether they are PF, this is how cadres think. They have no ability to decipher, no ability to read the room, no ability to think critically, no ability to think analytically. To Kelvin Mwangala, the storming of a private property. Listen, the lodge is not a government, that is not a government seal. That's not Ministry of Local Government. That's not Ministry of Works and Supply. That is a private business that was ambushed by thugs. Given lubinda was forcibly removed by Kelvin Mwangala's own admission. Listen to his reasoning. You've heard the clip. It's shocking. Shocking to say the least. The word of God says, there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof is the way of destruction. This is clear. Kelvin Mwangala, acting UPND youth chairman, thinks that if I do this, bachikulira kuja kuntangu kuja. Wazamvera ati, munamvera ati Kelvin anachita ambush given Upnd. He removed him. Oh, yes, he removed him. Oh, which means he's a loyal member of the party. And he must be rewarded. Voila, that is nonsense. Listen to Kelvin Mwangala's reason. Kuti, given Lubinda had no permit to conduct the meeting he had at that lodge in Kabwe. Now, the question. Kelvin Mwangala, are you law enforcement? Are you the police? Do you work for Home Affairs? The answer is no, no, no. So, you did that out of your own misguided zealousness and the purported support of the party. What Kelvin Mwangala did is no different from what Charles Kakula did in 2021 when he threatened to burn Miss Cherie there in the permanent secretary's office at the Ministry of Works and Supply. It is the same. The same modus operandi, the same MO, the same method used by people that call themselves party loyalists, and yet what they are peddling is thuggery. There is nothing noble about what Kelvin Mwangala has done. I've just read a statement by Honorable Jack Mwimbu. Jack Mwimbu has said anyone who is found wanting in this case of the abduction of Given Lubinda, there shall be no sacred cows. Jack Mwimbu, my plea to you and to your office. Move in swiftly on this issue. Mwikumya na kuchaniyo. Don't drag your feet. Don't stand and tiptoe through the tulips. Do not delay and smell the roses on your way to arrest that Kelvin Mwangala. That must be done immediately. Why? Because the reasons Kelvin Mwangala has given are both foolish and unsubstantial. Nonsense. Where does a political cadre think that it is the preserve of cadres to determine who has a permit or who does not have a permit? That is not your business. That is the preserve of law enforcement. And let me say what I said in my earlier broadcast, and I'll say it again. It is offensive. I mean, the rumor on the internet is kuti police have issued a statement kuti given lubinda is safe in police custody. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear the given lubinda is safe. What we want to hear is the chaps who broke into a private property, who abducted given lubinda, have been arrested, they've been apprehended, and they are in police custody, awaiting trial. That's what we want to hear. Don't allow these chaps. But there's nothing worse than political provocateurs in the name of political cadres who think they can get away with breaking the law simply because they claim to be loyal to the party. I mean, these are the things that the HH has been fighting against. Lawlessness, unbridled thirst for anarchy, chaos, and the like. It should not be tolerated. I stand corrected. Let me, for the record, say, in my earlier broadcast, I was of the view that this was an internal party conflict. I stand corrected. I was mistaken. The truth is that by his own admission, Kelvin Mwangala has come out and said, no, actually, the reason is that manyawata given yaba wanaenda kuchiteni ukukuloji ukukukabweku, and they were assembling anilofori. The most tepid, the most lukewarm, the most foolish reason I have ever heard on this side of the Milky Way. Now, let me tell you what's sad about that statement by him. I've said it and I'll say it again. What is sad is that in his mind, in his heart, he is fully convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, kuti fidiala ndile fidia. But you know, it's because he didn't have a permit and the Upnd youth were provoked. Lawlessness, foolishness of the highest order, anarchy, contempt, rebellion against authority. That's what that is. If you allow that type of surrogate to spawn, you are breeding disaster. Kelvin Mwangala must be contained. His boys must be quashed. His surrogates must be thrown under the bus and taken to court. A noose should be tied around their necks and thrown into the sea of God's forgetfulness so that this is not repeated. We are at an inflection point, especially now that we're standing on the precipice of 2026. This should not be allowed to continue. This sort of blind, foolish loyalty. It's not even loyalty. It's misguided loyalty. You can't commit a crime and say you are loyal to the party. No. If in fact the UPND are true to their words that there are no sacred cows, there are no sacred cows. Take these boys to task. The video is there. The evidence is plain and clear for all of us to see. There is no ambiguity about the identity of these chaps. They are known. Not only are they now known on social media, they are known in their communities. Police don't make statements like, no, we are given Lubinda, we have him. He is in custody, he is in the care of the police. That is rubbish. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear Kelvin Mwangala and his cohorts and his wayward chaps have been arrested and they have been charged with unlawful entry, trespassing, and abduction. Those are three very big charges. Very big charges indeed. And they cannot be excused simply because they claim to be loyal to the ruling party. That is nonsense. Foolishness. The other thing I want to bring out, which to me, it will spark the very fact that non-UPND surrogates have done this under the misguided direction and the prompting of Kelvin Mwangala. The very fact that it is UPND who have done this atrocity under the guidance of Kelvin Mwangala, you are going to spark a political cadre war between PF and the UPND. These are the seeds. If you don't arrest Kelvin Mwangala, you are going to see what's going to happen. The PF are going to do the same thing to UPND. And it will be chaos. But one thing I want to point out, Bane, I'm just so shocked that given Lubinda was taken in full view of PF cadres, and the PF cadres did not resist or push back. Because you see, this is what you have to contend with. This is what it is. When political cadres meet on the political battleground, they'll start killing each other. They will start killing each other in the name of what? Political allegiance. I mean, what if indeed, let us ascertain, given Lubinda indeed did not have a permit to conduct that meeting at that lodge in Kabwe. Let us assume that. So what? Is it Kelvin Mwangala's job and his thugs to claim that no, we are upholding the law? No, we are law-abiding. Let's just be frank. Let's just be honest. These same people under the misguided tutelage of Kelvin Mwangala, who are claiming to be the custodians of law and order, are the most vile criminals in society, those chaps. How dare they claim that they are the custodians of law and order? How dare they say that? When we know the intrinsic nature of those boys is criminality. And they think and they feel they will be protected. They are immune from any prosecution because they claim to be party loyalists. Honorable Jack Mwimbu has made it abundantly clear there will be no sacred cows. But Mwimbu, that issue has to be moved on tonight. Not tomorrow, not after breakfast, not next week, not next, tonight. Those boys have to be, they are known. For a senior citizen like Given Lubinda to be wrapped up in the manner he was wrapped up by just boys, these useless youth, to be wrapped up in that, a senior citizen, not only a senior citizen, but a connoisseur in Zambian politics. Whether you like him, dislike him, or whatever, you cannot take that away from the position that man has held in terms of Zambian history. So you cannot justify that type of behavior. Today it's Given Lubinda. Tomorrow to be your grandfather. being pulled and thrown like a ragged, rabid, junkyard dog in full view of people. But that is not the Zambia we want. I'm urging you, my fellow Zambians, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, you raise this issue with your member of parliament. Raise this issue with your councillor. Petition the president to make sure that the people who are tasked with keeping law and order in any part of this country's societies has to do the right thing. Don't shroud this in political partisan politics. If you do that, you will lose your way. This is the correct analysis of this situation. And if you don't look at it in that way, you'll be misled by the enemy. Who's the enemy? The enemy of peace, the enemy of tranquility, the enemy of cohesiveness, the enemy of one Zambia, one nation. They're there. Get them. Throw them in prison. Get rid of them. Remove them from society. We don't need them. We don't want them. Kelvin Mwangala and his cohorts have no right to roam this earth. They belong in the dungeons. They belong in the gallows. They belong in God's sea of forgetfulness. Selah. All right. Thought I'd share that with you. Thanks for listening.